Hello everyone, my name's Steph, I'm Botanist Cool, and today we're continuing the pirate airship from Dungeons and Lasers. If you're enjoying my mini painting, make sure to like and subscribe. It's free, it's easy, it's 2 clicks, and I can't thank enough for your support. Let's get on to the rest of the video. Now this video was, well, I'll put it frankly, there wasn't a lot to it. I actually wanted to go into this painting session and really work on shading, really work on getting that fabric to look really good, and really work on a lot of those finer details. However, I quickly realized that I had a lot of things to fix because the first time I was painting it, I was just getting a lot of broad strokes in, and I didn't really have a plan, and it was just a mess, right? So one of the things I wanted to fix were the chains on top. I had painted them in that true copper color that I enjoyed. However, I decided to change it to lead belcher, which means I had to go over a few times to really cover that copper color. I then made sure that I went back through all the stone and got all the white parts off the stone from the cloth. I made sure that all the lead belcher was on the chains and not on the stone. So I had a lot of like small detail work to do. It was a lot of that fine tuning in those areas specifically. And then I mixed my white scar and skeleton bone and then used a little bit of that copper to really start defining those areas between the metal casing and the metal like structure around the actual fabric and the fabric itself. I didn't get anywhere near shading everything. And that just made me realize that this is going to be a bit of a slower mini to do because it really is going to be a part by part mini with all these highly specific situations. I haven't even gone to start the deck, which has like a person underneath it and multiple chains and cannonballs and all that kind of stuff and all these details inside the actual like hull of the ship. I haven't even gotten to start that, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of detail here in just the chains, in just the shape of the metal that I have to really work on. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a very slow going mini, which is still going to be a lot of fun, but it's just one of those, you know what I'm saying? It's going to take a while. Now, last week on Discord, we had our monthly community day where I decided I'm going to continue to work on this mini. I want to get some dry brushing done for all the shading, and that's exactly what I did. I did a little mixture of skeleton bone from Army Painter's D&D collab. I did a mixture of white scar from Citadel, and then a mixture of uniform gray from Army Painter War Paints, and I just got it to look a little darker, a little grayer, so on and so forth. And then I used a flat brush, not like one of those circular dry brushes, but like this flat brush I had, because I saw a lot of people online using flat brushes to do dry brushing. Anyways, I used a flat brush to kind of get that darker color in all those little middle areas and all those crevices and what have you, and it ended up looking really good. I'll include a picture of the mini right now as you're looking at the screen so you can see what it looks like after the community day, because this was done a week before community day, so it's gonna be a little outdated, but I'm really enjoying how it looks like. I'm really enjoying that dry brushing and how it's giving that texture to the mini itself. And I was able to do some good work at making sure that the underside of the balloon is a little darker, a little grayer, a little shadowier than the top side of the balloon, which I used a lot more white scar and skeleton bone compared to the uniform gray. And it's looking wonderful, it's looking marvelous, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's also solidified my plan, quote unquote plan, to really tackle this one piece at a time instead of kind of scatterbraining around doing a little bit of everything. So I'm gonna finish the cloth, and then I'm gonna move on to the copper like skeleton and structure all around it. I don't know what to call it, the architecture that's around everything. I do want to give that a brown wash. However, I don't want to accidentally get that brown wash all over what's going to be that beautiful finished cloth. So I'm gonna have to work hard at applying that brown wash either very gently or very carefully, and it's going to be a bit of a pain in the rear, but we will get that done. And then I plan to move over to the stones and those details there. I did paint the stone and the stone skull over here like 2 different kinds of gray, one being the standard Mechanist gray from Citadel, one being the uniform gray. After I painted it in white, but I hated that, so I'm going to dry brush that later. But you get my point. I have a plan now of what to do and how to do it. Now, one thing I didn't mention was how I'm doing the dry brushing. You guys have probably seen me dry brush with those big round circular brushes. However, for this mini, I thought that would be a bad idea. We have a lot of details in a lot of specific areas where I don't want to hit, as an example, a copper like dry brushing detail thing with gray. So I didn't want to use a big, thick, like circular dry brush. I used a flat brush that just had like a bunch of bristles in a flat line to do my dry brushing. It allowed me to work with a lot more detail, and it made it look a lot, it made it just look a lot better. I was able to really control that shading a lot more. I was able to control it, where it's going, how it's going, and yada yada yada. It does work just as well as the circular brushes, but I think it's more along the case of, are you trying to get the dry brushing done in a quick and efficient manner, or are you trying to be really specific with your detail and your dry brushing, in which case the flat ones seem to work a lot better. So that's how the pirate airship is coming along. I'm going to repost that picture right now because this one is currently a little out of date. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll show you that a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. Y'all, tell me how you think it's turning out down in the comments below. It's really been a process of like, trust the process. It's gonna look wonky, but it'll look good later on. So I'm doing my best there. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a good one. Like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Stay safe and stay Botanist Cool. I'll see you for the next one. Bye, y'all.